Hello and welcome to another Lawrence Academy screencast. Today we're going to be talking about domain and range. We are going to be using tables and graphs for domain and range. First of all, domain is the set of all possible or all valid x values, and the range is the set of all valid y values. And by this point, you've all had some exposure to interval and set builder notation, so that's how we're going to be describing the domain and range of these functions. So let's take a look at tables first. So here we have a table, an XY table, and we're going to use set builder and interval notation to describe the domain and ranges of this function. So if you're ever given a list or a table, all you have to do in both set builder and interval notation is just list out the values. So let's start with a range. So we remember from the previous screencast, the set builder notation is x such that, and now we can say x equals any one of these values. So x could be 1, 2, -5, or 7. And similarly, when we're doing the range, we're going to look at the y values, and y can be equal to 3, 5, or 8. Right? So we don't need to repeat the 3 because we already have it. So there we have this in set builder. Interval notation is going to look very similar, except for we are going to just surround each one of these values with brackets. So let's start with the domain. X could be equal to 1, it could be 2, it could be -5, or it could be 7. So here we're just listing out these values. We could use set operations, we could use the union here, or we could just separate it with commas. Either way is fine. The range is going to be simply 3, we have 5, and we have 8. So whenever you're given a table or a list, these are very straightforward problems to solve, whether you're using set builder or interval notation. All you have to do is essentially just list the possible values or list the values that are presented to you. Let's take a look at the use of graphs to discuss domain and range. This is a little bit trickier, and you have to kind of look and see what values are possible. Here we have a graph that appears that the leftmost point right here is located at -4, and the y value is +3. So let's take a look at the domain in set builder and range in set builder, and then we'll work on interval notation. So set builder, we can start off each of these. So we have x such that, and then we can start off the range is y such that. So this is x such that looks like the lowest value for x, the lowest possible value occurs right here at x is equal to -4. And it appears, since this arrow goes off forever in this direction, that there is no maximum value for x. So I could say x is greater than -4, less than infinity, but all I really have to say is that x, or -4, is less than or equal to, because it's a closed dot, x. I don't really have to put an upper bound on it because it's assumed that it will go off to infinity if you just say that x is greater than or equal to -4. For the range, we see that the highest value is +3, which occurs at that point, and it goes off forever in the negative direction. So y is going to be less than +3. So this is going to be 3 is greater than or equal to y. So as was the case before, since it's going off towards -infinity, I don't have to set that boundary. I can just say that it's less than 3. So in interval notation, it's going to look a little bit different because we are going to go off to +infinity and -infinity. So let's take a look at the domain first. So that's the x values. So we'll just say domain. In this value, the 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 minimum x can be here is -4, and it goes off towards positive infinity, right? It goes off this way to the right. That tells us that we're going off towards positive infinity, which will always end in a parenthesis there, and is -4 included? It is, so that means that we are going to be using a bracket. The range, the highest, or the maximum value for y is a +3, and the lowest value, we can see here, it goes off in this direction to -infinity, and we're going to use a parenthesis there, and is the 3 included? It is included, so that means we have a bracket. All right, so here we've used both set builder and interval notation to take a look at the domain and ranges of functions in tables and in graphs. As is customary, now that we've done a few examples together, I'm going to give you 2 more to do on your own, one of each. So the first problem is going to use a table. And remember, if there's more than one y value or more than one instance of the same y value, you don't have to repeat it. Number 2 is a graph. Here it looks like there's an open dot over x is equal to -3, and the lowest the graph appears to go is -2. So do your best for these. Work on your own. I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.